What's going on, team? Welcome back along to the crib, your number one place for everything rugby. And today we are back with the round 14 Super Rugby preview show. And of course, like we do every single week, we bringing in the special guests, and welcoming back to the channel is Paul. I was going to give you a big title there, Mr. Paul, but it wasn't going to work. I was going Mr. England or Mr. DrivingMaul, whatever it is. Paul from the DrivingMaul, welcome back to the channel.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, a pleasure to be back, as always.
Now, of course, this weekend, Paul, some big news coming up from you. That's why we've got you on here especially to promote this as well. So what's going on this weekend for everyone who's in your neck of the woods around Hamilton?
So if you're in Hamilton, come on down to the Zone Sports Bar in Sky City and join us to watch the Blues versus the Chiefs. Myself and Stephen Harris, who you'll have seen on my channel, and also does a bit of commentary for Radio Sport, get it right round. We'll be there on the microphones giving you a pre-match preview rather than a post-match preview, obviously, and then also half-time and full-time chats as well. So come on down, join us to watch the game, and it's also my birthday, so come and say hello.
Oh. And everyone has to wish Paul a happy birthday in the comments as well. So if you're watching this, if you know I'm on Twitter, of course, get out those happy birthday wishes for Saturday. It is Saturday, right?
Saturday. That's
so
correct,
Saturday, get the old happy birthday wishes going out there for Paul this weekend. Turning the big 21 times.
Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me.
Your third 21st birthday, is it?
40 something or other. I've forgotten how many now. Jeez,
no, going backwards. No, we don't talk about age on here. Anyway, Super Rugby preview show, that's why we're here, and we're going to be talking about the match that you will be doing that special event for as well, but that one will be coming up later. But first things first, as we always do on the show, we're going to have a look at the glorious yellow cards and, of course, the glorious SuperBru as well. Now, Mr. Gardner has been in full form in the last couple of weeks there, Paul. I mean, I haven't actually used the Angus Gardner trick on the show. It's a new one for you out there who haven't been following what's been happening on my Twitter account, which you should be. Go follow it now. It's on screen. Go do it. Angus Gardner, new nickname for him, for Mr. Gardner himself, has been dishing them out left, right and centre. So we've given him a new nickname. But yellow cards. Now, 2018, heading into round 14, we had 63 yellow cards. Now, do you want to hedge your bets with higher, lower, or do you want to be the gambler and go even for this season?
I'm pretty sure we're lower until recently, so I'm going lower.
Well, this was a really trick question because we're absolutely dead even. 63 exactly. We were up last weekend. We're up in a big way 2 weeks ago, but actually last year has caught up with us. So, Angus Gardner, you need to sort yourself out and dish out more yellow cards so I can abuse you a little bit more. The referee's going under a lot of scrutiny this week. Even old Seconds, isn't he? He's getting under the pump as well for his performance. So he's chopped completely, I see, from this round. Not going to see him refereeing any Super Rugby this week, that's for sure.
I've got an explanation for that, but anyway, go on.
Oh, here we go. Do explain.
So what they do is they appoint the referees in 2-week blocks. So this appointment would have been made before his interesting game last weekend. So it's not a reaction to that. It might be that he's got a wedding or something to go to, and that he's having a day off. So rather than that, because what they've apparently been doing is they've been having referee teams this year. So you'll have noticed that the referee and the 2 assistant referees will quite often work together. And they'll rotate around who is the actual referee and who's the assistants. Yes. But they've been working as groups of 3 with kind of a couple of reserves here and there. So Seconds, I think, might be one of the reserves.
That does make sense, yes. Or maybe he's just got some players to push off rucks in club rugby or something somewhere else instead. So who knows? But yes, a lot of talk about that chap over the last week as well. But moving swiftly on, we'll talk about the referees, I'm sure. Angus Gardner will have at least 1 or 2 games this weekend, the idiot. But let's move on anyway. Let's go on to SuperBru, where it's a bit more of a sad story here for you, Paul. You're going to put your cap over your face. I'm going to put the yellow one straight on my head to talk about how well SuperBru is going. It's been another good week. Yes, still inside the top 10, sitting in 8th position, get the right amount of fingers up. And I've made a bold claim this week as well. A very bold claim that I'm the most consistent picker in either yours or myself's pool over this season, as the only person inside the top 20 of both pools to have not picked up a Grand Slam point. So Although bad on my part because I haven't picked one up, but also very, very good because that's consistency to be in the top 10. But yourself, Paul, let's talk about where you are.
Those multi-bets not going too well, though, eh, Steve?
What's that?
Those multi-bets not going too well.
I put one bet on a couple of weeks ago when the Crusaders played the Sharks. Yes, and it was a bet going into the game. It's like the TAB special. Super Rugby or George Bridge to score a one try between them, paying something ridiculous like $4 or saying, no, so sure thing, give me some of that. And what happened? They absolutely bombed, and I'm like, I'm done, absolutely done. So that's the end of the story. But tell us, of course, you're doing the betting thing as well, and I can guess straight away that it's a predictable weekend last weekend, but the picks didn't go so well. Most people, they picked your funny one in the middle.
Yeah, I picking that the Sharks beating the Chiefs. It was, in retrospect, stupid. The Chiefs have given up the least number of penalties in the entire game, so the entire competition, and the Sharks score all their points via penalties. They were never going to win, were they?
Although they got very, very close. I mean, that could have... you take out that little 10-minute stanza at the end there, that could have gone either which way when they scored a couple of tries. Oh, for sure. Every single game you could say that about, couldn't you, as well? So you're sitting down 29th. You've dropped a couple of spots, but you've been coming up nicely over the last few weeks as well, so you've got to be happy about that. Jamie has picked up this thing on my head here. He's done well. He's up 10 spots to 21st, so well done for him. But it is the usuals at the top of the table. 3 Crowns 1 has gone from 3rd to 1st, and the other 2 below him, Jack and Nate's, who's fallen down. Nate's, you coming down to my area, boy. You're down in 3rd place, but... still, those 3 guys have dominated this season at the top, and they are going very, very nicely as well. So, it's all happening on SuperBru this season. I'm happy with my top 8. Paul, work to do. Get onto it, boy. And let's get into it. Let's see what you're picking this weekend into the real stuff. We, of course, got a few matches to go through, so let's dig straight into them. It kicks off, of course, Friday nights, the Hurricanes up against the Jaguares. Now, Jaguares had a decent little opener to their tour, didn't they, last weekend? But history's pretty slim on these two sides. They've met only 2 times so far, and both of them pretty comfortable victories. So the Hurricanes, the team for this one has been announced, especially for the Hurricanes. Big news here. No Beauden Barrett, but is it this old cliche we've talked about a couple of times already? No Barrett, no problem for the Canes.
No, absolutely. I mean, the Canes have only lost to the Crusaders this year. And let's be honest, only the Tars haven't lost to the Crusaders. So, actually, and the Sharks, to be fair. Sorry, I had to go. I was there, but the Hurricanes have only lost 2 games all season. Both of those, the Hurricanes only lost 2 games all season. Both of those to the Crusaders. Tongue tie. Basically, you always back the Hurricanes. I've got to back the Hurricanes here. Sure. It's really interesting that we've got Marshall starting at 10. Who obviously he came back from Europe and has basically been injured until now. I think this is probably his first game for the Hurricanes, I think.
No, he played a couple off the bench, but he got the injury, I think, in his first match back. So it was a big hurrah. Marshall's back, and then he come off the bench, snapped something, and we haven't seen him since. Yep.
So it's going to be interesting to see how he goes. Beauden's been rested, but I mean, all the other All Blacks are there. I mean, Tamanga Allen, Ardi, TJ, Lamapi, Barrett. I mean, it's pretty much a full. With the exception of Beauden Barrett, this is a close to first choice side that's fit.
Yeah, it is, and you look at the team, and I mean, that Marshall's an experienced guy. He's been around the traps, and I mean, he doesn't have to do much because, like you said, he's got the guys around him. He just needs to catch the ball, kick well would probably be a good start, but he just needs to get the ball to guys like the Lau Mapes. Wes Houston's been in fantastic form as well. Geordie Barrett carving things up from 15, so he's got an easy job, and all he needs to do catch and pass, play the territory game well, and it should be an easy ride home, really, for the Hurricanes. But they're up against the Jaguares, and I mean, we've seen their team as well, which has just been named as we started recording this. Not too much of a surprise, a couple little deft changes to the side, but all in all, what you'd really expect from this team. But what I think they're going to lack, though, or struggle with, is the defensiveness and the discipline to get one away from this Hurricanes team.
Yeah, and something that a lot of people are still thinking about the Jaguares is that they're a big offloading side, and they're not. That's how they arrived in Super Rugby. They've really changed their style now, and they're very much about the quick ruck. And so all their support players aren't in offloading positions; they're in position to clear out that ruck quickly. So you're going to see the Jaguars are the lowest offloading team in the competition, but I say they flip that by having quick ruck ball and by clearing out those rucks quickly. So basically, keep an eye out for that. They're still going to play expansively. They want to get something out of this game because the Sharks have got the weekend off, and they are 1 point behind the Sharks in the Africa Conference, which puts them, which means they're basically and the Sharks top of the conference. So a win here would be fantastic for the Jaguars, but even a losing bonus point would be good for them.
Yeah, and if they could come away, from New Zealand with a couple of decent results. I mean, they definitely didn't embarrass themselves last weekend. It would be amazing to see them top of the table, wouldn't it? I mean, the Bulls are the other team that's on equal points with them, slightly better points differential. We'll talk about them next, obviously, and their chances. But, real opportunity, real possibility that they could grab something here and go top of the table. But a tough ask against a Hurricanes team that you would expect to put this one away. Are you going for home win? And how many?
Home win by 10.
Home win by 10. Wow, that's very similar to what I've got. And that's very concerning to start our show this week. I've gone Hurricanes by 9. So a tiny touch less. It's at double digits. It's just when you tick it over that 9 to 10, it's a bit of a concern there. But no, we're going similar, very similar to kick off the weekend with the Hurricanes to pick up the victory. Moving on. It is the Rebels up against the Bulls, who we just talked about. And this Rebels team, let's talk about them for a second. They've just lost top spot to the Brumbies now. They've only got 5 rounds to go. There's a big reason for this team to step it up now because they've got one big addition back from the Leicester Tigers now. Matt Samoa in this Rebels side, starting on the bench. But how much of an impact do you think he's going to have on this Rebels team?
Little to none. I mean, this guy's going to be jet lagged. He's only just got back. To expect him to do anything really is a bit is perhaps being a bit optimistic. But I mean, that Rebels backline is pretty decent, and let's be honest, the Bulls just don't travel, do they? So as long as they get something out of their forwards, the Rebels should have a good day.
I mean, it's interesting to talk about this Rebels backline because one guy I feel quite sorry for is going to be Billy Meeks because he's had a really good season. He's been at that kind of all right level for a long time in Super Rugby. He's been decent, held his own, but he's never really set the world on fire. This year, he's actually had a decent little year. He's stood up. He's been a real attacking weapon for them inside centre, and now it seems the likelihood is he's going to be off, and Matt Samoa is going to be coming in and most likely will be taking his place. I'll presume will be slotting into that number 12 jumper. But you talk about the Bulls, and of course last week they were nothing short of humbled by the Crusaders, and then they go on the road. Now tell me what's worse for a South African team, getting thrashed at home by a New Zealand side or going on a road trip straight after it?
Well, go on the road trip because no one at home actually bothers to watch or care about the results, so you're okay. So it's the home result that's a bad one. But you've got to say, sure, the Bulls are only 1 point behind the Sharks, on even points with Jaguares, but they got the Rebels, Brumbies, Blues, Highlanders. They got away. They don't tour well, don't the Bulls? You could easily see them losing the next 4 games and suddenly be heading back to South Africa with basically their hopes in tatters.
Yeah, they'll be swimming down there with the Stormers at the bottom of the table, possibly. Tough ride home for the Bulls, but you got to give them credit. They've done well to get where they are, I guess, after the predictions, follow-ons from last season of where they're going to go. So they've come a long way from where they have been, the Bulls.
But going back to the Brumbies Rebels, this is a really intriguing, I think it's a really funny finish. So the Brumbies have got 1 more point than the Rebels at the moment, but the Rebels finish run-in is Bulls, Sunwolves, Waratahs, Crusaders, Chiefs. Now they're going to lose the Crusaders game, right? Because it's away anyway. So whereas the Brumbies run-in is Bulls, Sunwolves, Waratahs, Reds. So the exact same first 3 games. And the only difference is the Brumbies face the Reds and the Rebels play the Chiefs. So, very, very similar running for those 2 sides.
Yeah, playoff spot possibly could be at stake. I mean, the Reds are probably sitting there going, there's a possibility we could do something here sitting in third. 5 points adrift, but they're up for chance as well for them. But are you going for the home win for the Rebels this week?
Absolutely. I mean, it was just said that the Bulls can't tour. So, yeah, Rebels by 5 for me.
Oh, dear me, it's got even worse. Of course, we were at 1 point off before. We've got exactly the same now. This is crazy. I mean, you'd think we'd took notes over before we started, but there's none of that at all. I'm going Rebels by 5 as well, so goodness me. We're starting off with a pretty interesting start to the two games. I mean, the Bulls is a flip of the coin. It's South Africa. Oh, I don't want to even go down that road at all. No, we're moving on. We're moving on. Moving on to the Blues up against the Chiefs. And tell me, is there a simple equation here for this matchup? New Zealand Derby, the Blues, equals a loss?
They beat the Highlanders at home.
Ha ha ha.
Didn't they?
They did.
There we go then. The Chiefs have got something like 15 players injured. They're an absolute mess. And so you've got to wonder, what kind of side can the Chiefs actually even put out? But then again, looking at the Blues' performance, I was at Eden Park last weekend for the Blues versus Hurricanes, and they really were poor, to be honest with you. They played well enough rugby to win that game several times over, but were just poor. So I am going to go Chiefs by 3, but it's going to be a real close one, this one.
Oh, I don't want to hear that margin again. Not for a minute, because this is getting a bit freaky now. Really a bit freaky. The Chiefs, these sides met back in round 8, remember? It was 33-29. The Chiefs actually won that one. But going on what you've said there, the Blues seem to be a side that if you can weather that first 10, 15 minutes, maybe 20 if they have a good day, you've probably weathered a good enough storm to take them away. And last time these two sides met, a very similar position to where the team is now, especially the Chiefs. Last time they met, they just broke that terrible start, thrashed the Bulls. They just put the Jaguars on the road. And then this time, they've drawn off the Highlanders, beat the Sharks. Consistent in form, consistent in performance. Confidence, a big key for the Chiefs heading into this match.
It is, but I mean, they're talking about rushing back Sam Cane because they just run out of back row forwards. They just keep breaking players, which is a real problem. That's my only concern for them. I mean, they're still a long shot for the finals. I mean, in their last 8 games, they've won 4, drawn 2, lost 2. I mean, they're in some good form. They just started the season poorly. They are that kind of phoenix rising from the ashes, except it's not the phoenix you're expecting. It's a totally different bird because there are just so many players that are different there. I mean, there's no Damon McKenzie, there's no Brady Retallick. The guy that is playing really well, that's kind of ticking him along, is Brad Weber. He's really putting his hand up for every World Cup, I think.
And it's testament to the team, isn't it, or the squad, or the region, that they can keep on plucking these guys. Like what are they at, 3rd, 4th? Kind of cab off the rank to fill this team, and yet they're still performing at a admirable, you can say, level. Generally, most of the time, like you say, decent form recently as well. So they're just plucking these guys out. New Zealand Rugby, strong as ever.
Well, yeah, but apparently they've been raiding the Bay of Plenty Mitre 10 Cup side. Now, they didn't do very well last year, did they?
It's always a bright new year. Come on, the Stags. It's a chance for them as well this year. They'll be raiding them next. They already are. They got Marty McKenzie up there. Who knows?
No. It's when the Highland. You're part of the Highlanders franchise area, okay? They have had to. I mean, they had to bring in 2 loose forwards from the Bay of Plenty area because they've just got so many injuries. There's got nobody left to get on the pitch. That's really the kind of level they're at now, which is really scary. That's my only concern around the Chiefs. As you say, as far as squad morale goes, as far as form goes, they're the team to win.
And speaking about scary, it's another thing that is extremely scary to me right now, is that I've picked the Chiefs to win this one by 3 points. Exactly the same as what you said earlier. So I'm a really bit concerned, considering out of 3 games, we're at the difference of 1 point or between the 3. That is insanely crazy, but we'll move on and hopefully get something of a different result out of this one.
Before we move on, don't forget, join me at the Zone Sports Bar in Hamilton. If you can't, then we'll be broadcasting live on YouTube.
Yes, get down there. Have a few handles. Have one for me as well. And get there and portray my thoughts on Angus Gardner, who might be refereeing their game down there at the ground. Have a few beers and then abuse the hell out of Gardner. That's what we want to see. Right, So Paul will be enjoying himself after that game, but we'll be moving on to the Reds versus the Waratahs. And this one is the old rivalry, isn't it, in Australia? The Queensland versus the New South Wales. It's been highly talked about. Shane has been quite excited about this meeting every time it's come up this season, and he's one to really jump on that bandwagon. But the last time the Reds actually won this meeting was back in 2014. It's been 11 meetings between the two sides since that victory. How big of a hurdle is that going to be mentally? Probably more than anything for the Reds to get up before it.
Well, there probably is no one in the Reds then that has played that was still in that side, because it's kind of a young side. So that's probably not going to be such the mental hurdle. This is last chance saloon for both these teams, right? Reds are on 23 points, the Waratahs on 22. They are, as you say, they're chasing the Rebels on 28 points. And the Brumbies on 29 points. Both these teams, whichever one of these teams wins, is still in with a chance. The team that loses, they can write off their season really. In my mind. So this is definitely a pressure game. I didn't realise it had been so long since they'd won that game. I think it's going to be a close one. The Tars have only once lost by double. Sorry, which way around is it now? The only game that's been decided by double figures that involves the Reds has been that game against the Tars. All the others have been single figure games. So it's going to be a tight one. But I must say I'm going with the home side because they've got that kind of niggly pack. The Waratahs got a bit of a lightweight pack. The Waratahs have got the off-field issues with Falau. Everything's pointing towards this being what the Reds need.
And of course, adding on to that too is the Waratahs are just back from a big flight home from tour as well. So they're just landing back in Australia for their first match since being on tour. But you've got to commend their performances though. 2 losses, but only by a total of 8 points. They still know how to stick into a game. And now they're back in Australia. They're back in the comfort zone, I guess you could call it, of their home nation. No thought that they're going to bounce back here and get back to some decent form, I guess, against an Australian team, which decent doesn't replicate good, but, for an Australian standard.
I mean, the Tars have got all the names, they've got the players that should be able to do it. The problem is they're way better on paper than they are on the pitch. The Reds have got the form at the moment. They're the form side after having a horror start to the season where they lost the first 3 games, but they've turned it around since then. So, I'm with Brad Thorne on this one, even though I think he's a useless coach.
Really? Do you?
I just think he's an inexperienced coach. Doesn't know what he's doing. Let's be honest.
I think he's not afraid to make a bold call, which could be to his detriment, but to his advantage at the same time. I definitely think it's been advantage to the Reds for what he's done there. Definitely built a new, solid, up-and-coming brood of players, which is going to be good for them. But you can't really qualm about how he's done for them.
Apart from they're having a losing season.
Well, I mean, the Reds have had a losing season for a long time. It's not like he's coming in and taking over the Crusaders and they've fallen from the top echelon to the bottom of the barrel with the Sunwolves. It's a bit of a difference here. So I mean, the Reds have been struggling for a while. I mean, since they won the competition, it's been a downward slope to pretty much rock bottom. Now they're coming back up again. So, you've got to give him a bit of credit for that. I think he's been bold, and he's led them pretty well. So, you're going for a home win. How much?
Oh, sorry, I didn't say how much, though. 3. Not much confidence.
A home win by 3. Well, here we go. This is the line in the sand right here. You can mark it with a pen, cross it down the middle of the screen. Waratahs by 6. I dislike the Waratahs immensely, but I just think experienced old heads is going to get them over the line for this one. Decent form on tour, and that should be elevated, I do think, when they get back home in Australia to that standard, which is kind of down there somewhere against the Reds. So should be a good match. So I do think it'll be close. Even 6, I think, could be a bit too adventurous for my liking as well. But we'll move on. The Highlanders are away on the road, facing up to the Lions. So the Highlanders on their tour now, which is going to be interesting to see how they really adapt. I've always seen Waisaki Naholo on Twitter today going on about training at the height out above sea level sort of thing, and complaining about it. So that's always a good sign that he's struggling back from injury. So not good signs for the Highlanders. But the Lions, let's talk about the Lions. Lucky escape last week against the Waratahs. Do you think they'll be expecting to prepare the same against this Highlanders team? The Waratahs very attacking last weekend. Tries were free-flying all over the place. It was a very open, expansive game. The Highlanders will definitely bring that same sort of style. What do you expect?
They do. This Lions side have just become so inconsistent. It's untrue.
South Africa, not just the Lions. It's a South African thing.
Well, yes, but these guys in particular, I feel, they're one of the better. They're one of the better coached South African sides, but they've just lost so much quality that they just can't. That they just kind of lose it more often than not. Again, the high veld, the lack of travel, all these things are playing in their favour. The Islanders obviously missing people like Ben Smith, one of their key leaders, got some. So when Rose Robinson took the Crusaders to that final in South Africa, he said, "Look, guys, I don't care how you feel when you wake up in the morning. You say you're feeling good. None of you, when we're having no one is allowed to complain at all. You all say, yes, I'm feeling good. Yes, I'm doing well." And he told the players they had to have that positive mindset. So to see Naholo come out and start moaning about stuff on Twitter does shake my belief in my pick. Because I've gone Highlanders by 3. I think this is the hardest game to call in the whole thing. But the Highlanders are in good form. I mean, they've won they had three wins and a draw in the last 4 games. So the finals footy is a possibility for them. After a run of 5 losses, you got to say, hey, they've turned things around and things are heading in the right direction. But we'll see. Maybe it's heart over head with this one.
To make matters even worse, to that tweet that good old Waisaki Naholo put out during the week, Lima Sopawanga came out with a reply saying, you training during the week, but early for the captain's run, isn't it? So that was a bit of a stab to good old Waisaki. Obviously, he has a bit of a reputation for not being the most big trainer, I guess, during the week. So always a good bit of banter. Old Lima is pretty active on old social media, so he's a good follow for you guys out there, rugby fans who like to see a bit of banter going on between the players. Moving on about the Highlanders, though, history books don't read well for these guys. They've never actually beat the Lions away from home, and apart from one game in 2011 where the Lions beat the Highlanders at home, the home team has always won between the two sides. The Highlanders, though, they don't lose by much this season, losing bonus point out of 4 of their 5 losses so far. 2 teams, similar spot on the table. It comes down to desperation, doesn't it, for the Highlanders? And historically, a team that does often produce unpredictable sort of results on tour as well. They kind of do bring out that unpredictability, that explosiveness, especially guys like Naholo can, and we've seen in the past Fikatoa as well, while on tour, do bring that spark that they don't always have here in New Zealand.
Yeah, I'm just going to quick look at the points for and points against. The Lions, whilst they've won 6, lost 5, they've scored 261 points and led in 315. So they've got minus 54 points difference, but having a winning record. So even when they do win, it's a small margin. So, yeah, if you're going to go Lions, you go small. It's not going to be a big win for them.
Yep. And so you've gone Highlanders by 3, correct?
Yep.
I've gone very similar. I've probably gone a bit like you, a bit over heart over head on this one, but I've got Highlanders by a slim margin of just 2. I just think they're going to... Yeah, I agree with what you said. The Lions just seem to be a bit iffy and just not consistent over the field as well. I normally have a couple of guys that stand out in performances, like you see last week, Deontay picking up the player of the round, according to the Super Rugby, whoever decides that thing. But overall, the team didn't perform that greatly. So it just goes to show that one standout guy is really what they're relying on to stand up for the side and get the job done. But we still have 1 game to go. So we'll kick straight into this one, and we're turning into a real stat man for this one, but I'll save it to you till last. It's the Stormers versus the Crusaders, another match involving a South African team, so get the coins out and start flipping them. But this one shouldn't be too difficult because the Crusaders are involved, but you never know what Stormers side are going to turn up. But let's quickly talk about the Stormers first. It seems like this one shouldn't really... no, this isn't Statman. Not yet. We're not Statman yet. The Statman is about Crusaders. The Stormers season, though, pretty much done. A loss here, a gap will open up for the first time. The South African Conference is a possibility. No chance here for the Stormers, really, is here to give them anything. I mean, nothing. I don't have anything on the Stormers at all. All my concentrated effort is on the Crusaders. So, have your say about the Stormers right now.
I was going to say this is a banker for the Crusaders. That was all. That's really it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got anything else? No. Okay, here we go. Hit the stat man. Let's go. Right. Thoughts on this, please, Paul? 9 wins for the Crusaders. 7 try bonus points. A points differential of plus 179. The next best is the Hurricanes with plus 57 and the Sharks with plus 35. They lead with the most tries with 55. They have the least tries in 23. The next best for the most and least tries.
Least tries conceded.
Conceded, sorry, I should say. Thank you for that. The next best is the Hurricanes with 45 tries scored. And the Sharks are the only team to have conceded less than 30 with 29. Can this side be described anything else than a Super Rugby juggernaut? And that's straight out of the One News encyclopedia. Or 3 News, whatever one you watch. Bango. Where's the TV? Where is it?
This is the only banker of the round. Crusaders by 15. It's going to be a comfortable win. Yeah, it's only going to go one way.
One way. You've gone Crusaders by 15. I've gone the Crusaders. Yeah, one extra. This has been a terrible preview show. 16. 16 is my pick. We're supposed to be contrasting, hammering heads, saying opposites. No, not this week. It is 16 for me for the Crusaders to pick up the win on the road. Yes, Stormers, they sit lowly in South Africa. A losing record. I mean, you look at that, and they're the only team in South Africa with a losing record as well on 24 points. Not out of the dark, but let's say they're not going to get this win here against the Crusaders. And that is the final match of the weekend. How about that, Paul?
It is. And I think what this shows is that after what has been a crazy Super Rugby for 12 rounds, or that last week was a bit predictable, and maybe, just maybe, things are settling down a little bit.
No chance. No chance. I'm going to be sitting here this time next week with someone else. I mean, going, well, how do you think about that Jaguares victory and the Bulls just storming up to a 60-14 win over the Rebels? And, oh, goodness me, it could be catastrophic. And the Crusaders suffering their second loss of the season. Yes, it could be all. Who knows what's going to happen?
Well, look, when we talk about the game on Monday night on my channel, because you come over and you host that show for me, you can call me out on that as to whether it was predictable or not.
If I'm sitting here celebrating my first Grand Slam point of the competition, you know that Paul's definitely taking the cookies on that one. But here we go. That is the preview done for round 14. Very enjoyable for Paul. Thanks for joining us yet again. You want to give yourself any other info going on, what's happening on your channel, recap on what's happening this weekend for you as well, if anyone's still tuning in at these late depth ends of the video.
So yeah, at DrivingMaul on Twitter, DrivingMaul YouTube channel, live 8 p.m. every night of the week. Stephen comes on Mondays, where we review the Super Rugby games, and it shows every other night of the week. And then finally, obviously, come down to watch the Blues versus the Chiefs at the Zone Sports Bar this Saturday in Hamilton to have a chat with me and say happy birthday to me.
Indeed. I want to see it in the comments. Plenty of them in the comments, please, people. Big happy birthday and birthday cakes for Paul. And if you're not, or even if you are going down to watch the game with Paul on Saturday nights, you can still check out Twitter, where I will be actively abusing anyone I can get my hands on, or commending the good plays over the weekend as well. There's always plenty of action going on over on Twitter as well, where we get to have lots to say on that. So get there. You can see our handles will be on screen throughout the video as well, so you should have seen them by now. And that is us, done and dusted. Thank you again, Paul. Been a joy, been a pleasure. We'll see you soon. I think before probably the end of the round robin again for another preview show. Until then, though, thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you, Paul, for joining us. And I'll see you next week for another random guest. Who will it be? Could be you. Who knows? Take care.
Missing you already.